actions that, are a theory that's been around for 200 years, and this is a picture that comes out, So it's proven to be kind of a nice way, and I know when you look at it for the first 30 seconds it looks odd, but if you're a system administrator, I was out in some places looking at the signal for like 6 months, and you can just at a glance look at something and just know it's okay or it's not. And you just get so used to the pattern that the colors make and the timing, the spacing in between the colors and stuff. You just look at it and just know it's okay to go to dinner, or that it's not okay to go to dinner, You have to continually stare and look at it like this. You can just kind of glance up every while, and it tells you a nice story. I think human beings are such awesome, pattern recognition capability kind of built in, for whatever historical reasons. Okay, so this is kind of the wrap up. What we done, or tried to do hopefully, is we took a bunch of ones and zeros, which is the internet traffic, and we tried to make a picture out of that. And we saw, as a human being, it's easier maybe to look at a picture than it is to look at, I can't even look at, be a tome of ones and zeros yay high, and that's like 30 seconds worth of data. I can't even look at that. I mean, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. How would I do it? So I could maybe make a picture. That's something I could see. We talked about that correspondence. And we talked about, okay, that sounds like a nice thing to try, but when you actually go to do it, the number of dimensions is so big that it's prohibitive. I mean, you can't, even that doesn't work. So what can we do with high-dimensional dynamics to make them lower? And the things that have been around, couple, 3 generations at the least, in all these areas, a lot of smart folks, trying to do this same kind of business, is those 4 things that are highlighted, and I hope I was able to give you at least a flavor of how they work, some with equations, some with interaction rules, and some, just have a tradition of 200 years of just applications in really diverse areas and a lot of successes. And I hope I tried to convince you that thermodynamics isn't just, it is equilibrium, but equilibrium kind of is defined on how you define the modes. So if my modes are in equilibrium on a 1.2 dimensional kind of a fractal thing, then that's equilibrium to them, and that's kind of the the idea there. So define your modes, I guess carefully, you who are definers of modes, because if you don't, woe to you, it'll look like a big mess, And I think that's it. So thank you very, very much for coming, and I hope it was helpful. Any questions at all?
Can you show us those colors again? Read them to us.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, sorry that didn't come out. Let's see. Let me go over to this other. Oh, I can't do this. Shucks. Look, I'll have to go backwards then. Is it? No. Is it up? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. Forward.
Sorry.
Other way.
I think we're going forward slowly but surely.
Okay, one more.
Is that showing up?
One.
This one?
Yeah.
Read the categories. Okay, so it's 0 through 12, and if I could probably do it as a tree. See, you guys thought of everything. Does the picture thing work?
Yeah.
Okay, how about that? Okay, so it looks like UDP protocol, and it'll be yes UDP or no not UDP, right? And then it'll be from the ISP as the source, yes or no. So we got a tree, and then it'll be ISP. So let's see, shucks. I'll make this yes because it gives me more room to draw, but I wanted it to be no. If it's yes ISP, it looks like I've got FTP, I've got mail, I've got SQL, the database traffic, I've got other services, which I'm interpreting to mean low ports less than 1024 that are not specifically, 25, 23. I forget what the SQL port is. So other low ports other than the ones that are specifically mentioned. In other words, not FTP, not mail, not SQL, but still less than 1023. And then the other one is ephemeral, just high ports greater than 1024. I can't spell ephemeral. That's how embarrassing. Why is yes I can? Because it's written down. Doubly embarrassing. Ephemeral. Okay, there you go. So that's some of them. And Yeah, so just the logical consequences of that. Not off of not ISP, it becomes either ephemeral or services. So either low or high port. And if it's yeah. So basically that's it. So you can just make any tree you want. And when the packet comes, you just ask it a series of questions. Are you, whatever. So for example, if it was email, maybe you just want to watch email only. You can say, okay, are you email to one recipient or are you to many? Yes or no. Do you have an attachment or no? Yes or no. Just simple coarse-grained things. You don't have to look and see if it says hi mom or if it says hello mom or how are you mom. You don't need to worry about that. Just simple coarse properties of the packet. And you can get a really nice idea that way of what your email traffic is doing. And it's fast and it's scalable and lots of good things. So it's surprising to me once you get a glimpse of what the traffic is doing, you can kind of bootstrap from there. You get smarter about it and then you can ask sort of more pointed questions. Typically, when you go to a place, you find a lot of misconfigurations and people think the traffic's doing something that it's really not. So once they're able to see it, then they can go and they can fine tune. Typical cycle is you go to a place, you hook it up, you get some really interesting deviations, and you get an established pattern and some crazy looking thing. Remember when it rose up so high? Let's see if I can show you. Is that forwarding there? One more. There you go. Like that thing at the bottom, it goes from and it kind of jumps up to the right. We have one that was just doing that, but a very thin slices, so it looked like the fins on the old caddies. It just kind of did like we used to call them the fins. It'd be like a long flat stretch, and there'd be this fin, and another 20 minutes would go by, and there'd be another fin, and another 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes there's a fin, and we called there's a big army place, and there's a dozen guys running around calling themselves system architect, because it's a big place, and we're going, is this supposed to be doing this? It's like a heartbeat, and they're going, well, what is it? And we show them the traffic, and it's like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be doing that. And these are smart guys, but it's such a big, it's like asking somebody, do they know where a deli is in a big town? They know what a deli is, and they know where a lot of delis are, but they don't know every single deli, And they go, yeah, I think that's supposed to be doing that, Then the next day they come back and say, is this still doing that fin thing? Well, yeah, what machine was that again, And then they come back a couple hours later and say, can you get us that traffic again, And then like 2 hours later, fins are no more, So it's like, whatever it is, it shouldn't have been there, or something was misconfigured, or probably something really benign and dopey. But the point is, it had probably been running like that for a month, say, and no one knew about it. Once you get a chance to look at the traffic, you start tightening it down and getting it to do what you wanted it to do. And then you can make a new set of questions for it, kind of thing. So that's kind of how the applications typically go. It's a lot of fun. So I hope that got the question. It's real flexible. It's just a tree structure. Ask whatever questions are. As long as it's yes, no kind of answers and you can keep it fast. So.
How long a time interval is
Oh.
this? Like 1 hour?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah.
1 minute?
Yeah. It depends. Sometimes this particular thing, Sam, I don't know because I wasn't there, but I can tell you that at a network, say, that has maybe 10,000 TCP packets a second. We think in terms of packets per second rather than bits typically, because it's like a big chunk of information to be moved. If there's 10,000 TCP packets a second, there might be only 10 ICMP packets a second. So if I want to have like an ICMP channel, which we typically do, we would watch things like, same kind of tree structure. We'd ask it, are you a request? Are you an error? This kind of thing. So we'd have a back and forth kind of a picture. It turns out to be 8 buckets long. So for that thing at 10 packets a second kind of a rate, we can have like 2 hours or 6 hours of traffic across the screen. If it's something really fast, then we have maybe 15 minutes of use across the screen. But what we like to do is, if it's like what we call old friends, if they're frequent customers, like maybe 2 Army places have a lot of traffic back and forth between each other, and we know that they're old friends, we put them off on their own space. And people that talk